looks a little stressed out. Hey, listen, here's the deal: Eric is frustrated. Now, those of you who know Eric well know that Eric is always frustrated, complaining and whining about something. That's just what senior master technicians do. However, he's got a very interesting situation that I believe we need to brief on and get some feedback or opinions of others on. And so let's go talk to Eric, y'all. All right, so here's the deal. Eric has a truck come in. And Eric's a little bit frustrated about a couple different things on this. For one, he's frustrated, and I see his point, but he's frustrated because he feels like the client didn't really communicate with him, as I was saying. So the client came in and did not disclose all of the information about this truck. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Now, look, I understand, and I agree with the client in this case. I think why the client did it was smart, and I think it was an intelligent way to handle it. However, it does highlight something that we're seeing in the industry a lot right now, which is there's a real potential this truck was just in another shop, and they made recommendations to repair. It's happened to us. I don't want to say that this doesn't happen to us sometimes, but they made recommendations to repair this truck, and they said things that may not have been true. That doesn't happen to us. We work really hard to make sure that doesn't happen to us, and we provide documentation and data. So, Eric, tell us what you found.
So, truck came in with some after treatment faults. First thing that I noted was we had a particulate matter sensor fault. Road tested it. We had absolutely flatlined on the particulate matter sensor. Also had an EGT fault that looked like it was reading rationally. So popped it in, put the truck up, went to the particulate matter sensor to start there, just take a look visually, and found some really eroded wiring. Went back to look at data for the EGT and found that can be a sympathetic code, and the reductant performance code can also be sympathetic to that. So made a recommendation to replace the particulate matter sensor and pigtail, and then retest.
Well, and so what's interesting about this is then we get the news that this truck has just been at a dealership. Not a local dealership, but it's been at a dealership, and they've recommended $25,000 worth of repairs. We've seen the estimate. We know what they recommended, and they said that the failure was the complete exhaust system. And in their write-up and in the documentation, they said that the catalyst on the DPF had cracked, and that they didn't document any of this other stuff. And so we're going to go underneath the truck right now, and we're going to take a look, and we're going to see, is there any evidence that they could have inspected the DPF? Is there any way they could have gotten to the DPF based on what we see on this truck? Now, look, I'm not trying to throw shade at anyone. I don't have a problem with people making mistakes. I make mistakes. The shop has made mistakes. We've made incorrect calls before. Eric's made incorrect calls. This is just part of life, right? It's how we handle it. And so I just want to go take a look because it concerns me. I believe this was a case of dishonesty. This wasn't just a case of a miscall or a mistake. This was a case where someone lied. So let's go take a look. Now here you can see the downstream. We've sprayed it and we've tried to get it out. It will not move. These marks, these witness marks that you're seeing are all from us. Let's come around here, Eric. Let's look at this bolt. Does that bolt look like it's been out to you at any point recently?
Maybe on the assembly line.
Yeah.
No, these haven't been touched.
Right. So to determine if the DPF had cracked, would this all have to come loose here?
Yeah, we'd either have to pull this guy out to get a bore scope in to look at the back of the DPF, or pull this pipe off to look at the back of the actual filter.
Okay. Let's look up here. Let's look. Does any of this look like it's been a part to you? Because, guys, it doesn't look like it's been a part to me.
No.
Do you have any fault codes in this truck that make you think anything other than, hey, I need to start with replacing the sensor?
No, nothing is pointing at a mechanical failure, no symptoms. Everything is pointing to a dead sensor or sensor not reporting. So what we actually found under here when I came back and looked at the particulate sensor, we've already had a pigtail replaced, sensor's barely hanging on. But if you look right here where my thumb is, that is definitely a pretty gnarly rub through.
All right, so what do you think? I mean, I've got beef because I feel like this is what makes our industry look bad. Recommendations like this being made by somebody who's clearly not done all of the testing, and they just, don't know if this was a guess. I don't know if this was a mistake. I don't know if this was a technician who was frustrated by a flat rate and they weren't paid to diag. I don't know, and I don't know how this could happen. How do you think this could happen?
I think it's seeing a couple codes and pulling the trigger, using codes as a part number.
Yeah.
You know, my experiences in dealers, you're paid a half hour, maybe an hour for a diag. If I got 45 minutes just trying to get that sensor out to visually inspect it.
Now, let me ask you this. Why did it upset you so bad? Because you were pretty upset about this. You were upset a little bit with the client, a little bit with the other shop. Tell us why it upset you.
It's a complete lack of integrity. The implication from my side of it with the client is a lack of trust in our ability, our reporting, what we're finding. The lack of integrity from the other shop is beyond infuriating. I mean, that's why we have trust issues. That's why stuff like this happens.
I don't disagree with you. I think it's okay for the client to do this because I don't think, like, I could see that if I was at another shop and my client, a client from this shop had said, hey, I have an issue with this truck and I want you to look into this. This is what they said. A lot of shops will come back and say that the other shop was wrong just to say the other shop was wrong. So I think that he made a smart decision. I don't think there's anything wrong with him bringing it to us and saying, you know, obviously it could take longer to find the issue. It could lead to miscommunications. It could lead to other issues. But I don't think he did anything inherently wrong by doing that. I don't have a problem with that. That's not where my issue's at. My issue is with the fact that the other shop lied.
No, 100%.
Why do you think the other shop would lie about it?
I think low-hanging fruit. You know, you see one complete part. These are an entire assembly, the DPF, the dock. All of that is the bazooka. It's all one piece. It's phenomenally expensive. It's a really quick component to change. You know, low-hanging fruit.
But what advantage would the technician have to do that?
Quick job. Burn out the bolts, slam a new one in, and hope it's fixed.
I guess that's one way to handle it is if you replace every part in the system, it's got to be fixed one way or another. And you know what? I will say this. I do believe that in some cases that does need to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Right? In some cases, the whole system does need to be replaced. I'm not saying it doesn't. It is concerning for me in the way they approached this. And I can see that many, many dealer shops are taking that approach, replace the whole system and see what comes of it. Why do you think they're taking that approach these days?
Time. It's all about time. You know, you look up, if you don't see anything painfully obvious, then you go with the biggest, baddest thing you can.
Knock it all out in one shot.
Yeah.
Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below.